Richard Flynn's article, What Are We Talking About When We Talk About Agency, poses a compelling argument in regards to the dynamic of attainable or lack of agency given to characters in children's literature, which has me thinking, what about agency in children's cinema? Enter Studio Ghibli. The Japanese animation studio is well renowned worldwide for their work such as Princess Mononoke, Ponyo, and My Neighbor Totoro. Many, if not all their films are aimed at younger audiences with various messages. In this video, I will primarily analyze and discuss famous director Hayao Miyazaki's Spirited Away. As this movie is widely regarded as a coming-of-age film, it should come as little surprise that agency plays an important role in the film. In Spirited Away, the theme of childhood agency is explored mainly through the plot and characterization of the main character. Chihiro Ogino is a young 10-year-old girl, just old enough to start making her own decisions, but still young enough to cling to her parents for guidance, direction, and acumen. At the start of the film, Chihiro actively avoids making decisions or exercising her own agency. Almost immediately, she is faced with a possible decision she could make, choosing to follow her parents through the entrance into the spirit world or remaining by the car. Initially, Chihiro indicates that she is afraid to follow them through, but abandons the desire to stand by her decision as soon as her parents disappear into the darkness ahead of them. She grabs her father's arm, yet she is still being pushed forwards and through the entrance regardless of her qualms. Inside the spirit world, Chihiro and her parents wander about until they come to the infamous buffet scene. At the sight of the food laid out for the spirits, her parents are possessed by sudden greed and begin piling food high onto the plates. Once again, Chihiro expresses her reluctance and hesitation, only to be waved off again, her parents insisting that the food simply tastes, smells, and looks so good. And once again, Chihiro, rather than sticking to what she believes in, essentially lets her and her opinions be pushed aside. However, Chihiro begins to express agency when she meets the enigmatic Haku. While Haku still guides her by instructing her on what to do to leave the spirit world and what to do when she fails, he does not force her towards the decision, merely telling her what needs to be done, how she can do it, and to believe in herself. This agency is first shown when Haku urges her to look for a job in the bathhouse by speaking to Yamaji, the worker in the boiler room. Chihiro initially struggles to get to Yamaji, needing to run atop a slender staircase along the walls of the bathhouse, and although her fear is evident, she still manages to make it to the boiler room, even if she screamed all the way down. While in the boiler room, Chihiro is insistent on asking Yamaji for a job. The old spirit initially wants nothing to do with her, but Haku's earlier directions to insist on getting work end up working out in her favor. Yamaji refuses to listen to her words, so Chihiro forcibly helps up in the boiler room anyways, causing a commotion by helping the sentient soot balls carry coal to the furnace. When all the balls of soot try to get her to carry all the coal by herself, since she helped a ball that was struggling, Yamaji helps her get a job after all. When she finally gets a job under Yubaba, and half of her name stolen as she is renamed to Sen, she begins to express almost full agency. She struggles with the hard work in the bathhouse, not quite able to keep up entirely with the spirits, but working hard anyways to lift the curse on her parents. She is still bound and limited by Yubaba and the rules of the bathhouse and the spirit world, but expresses an unparalleled ability to make decisions and choices without her parents to guide her. As soon as they are removed from the situation, her agency rises dramatically, and even with the rules around her, that agency is nowhere near as curbed as it was at the start of the movie. With the absence of authority, her parents, Chihiro develops newfound bravery and therefore agency, which ties in with Flynn's argument. Thinking of children as capable might help us criticize or intervene in dismantling the binary logic that Nodelman notes is characteristic of all adult thinking about children in the centuries in which special children's literature has existed, without denying the power and longevity of the model that understands childhood purely in terms of its opposition to, lack of, and subordination to maturity. Arguably, most children's movies that centralize around coming-of-age tales could also be interpreted as movies that show how children undergo some kind of change in their lives or situations that change their agency as well as their maturity. Sage's Reign, a movie and animation review, analyzes Spirited Away's iconic train scene. He argues that the shots of her riding the train represent her transition from childhood to adulthood, or as I see it, her transition from lack of agency to having the ability to make independent decisions. As a child, when you lack agency, you don't spend your time worrying about the future, whereas adults, or those with agency, are always, at least in the context of the film, looking ahead or looking back and worrying about the past. By the time Chihiro has gotten off the train, she has essentially attained full agency. At this point in the movie, she moves forwards towards her goals of rescuing her parents without hesitation. As she comes of age, she isn't hindered by any fear of her authority figures and acts based on her judgment and what she deems the proper course of action.